Hi everyone, my name is Renee and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to be setting up my 2024 reading journal. I got my 2024 journal from The Creeping Moon on Etsy and it is absolutely stunning. I was rereading Throne of Glass when I ordered it and thought it fit the aesthetic of my favorite fantasy so well. This is a B6 journal which is slightly smaller than the A5 that I've always used in the past. I love the size of it for just holding, but it is slightly smaller than I would like it to be for some of the setup spreads that I do. Once I get into my monthly spreads, it will be perfect though, but I don't think I would recommend it to a bullet journaler who is used to working in an A5 journal. My 2024 cover page will be 2 pages with a Dutch door in the middle. I'm starting off by using double-sided tape to stick a sheet of black cardstock onto the left side of my 2024 spread. I will be using this vintage washi tape set throughout this setup video and will have it linked in the description below. I am using a sheet of craft cardstock on the right side of my yearly spread. This is where my rating key and yearly totals will go. Now that my Dutch door and base layer is complete, I can start decorating my cover page. I'll be using the vintage washi tape set along with my letter stamps and paper scraps. Each month I keep track of the number of books I read, the number of pages, my average rating out of 5 stars, and my favorite book. At the end of the year, I will add it all up and come back to this little Dutch door. I got this set of scrap sheets of paper from Hobby Lobby and will probably use them in a lot of different kinds of spreads. Some of the images are kind of blurry, but it doesn't look bad whenever I layer it with other sheets. I added a sticker that says remember that every day is the best day of the year, then tore down the corner of my cardstock to make sure that I can see as much of the quote as possible. I taped down my cardstock, then wrote out 2024 in a font that I found on Pinterest. The ink bled slightly, but I ended up going over the edges later with a different pen to clean it all up. I realized that everything was slightly too low on the page, so I got out my letter stamps to write out reading journal at the top of the page in a vintage gold ink. I took inspiration from library cards from my rating key and DNF card that you will see later in the video. My rating colors have all changed over the past year because I am trying to be more critical with my ratings. The color corresponds with a star rating, but they are mostly just to make an aesthetically pleasing bookshelfie. I have a separate color for 5-star books and my favorite books. I very rarely rate a book 5 stars, but it is honestly more common for me to have a favorite book simply because of the atmosphere within the story. But that doesn't always mean the writing is up to par with some other books that I've read. I placed down my rating key and then I decided to go back in with the vintage ticket washi tape because I thought it would look really well with everything else. Now that my cover page is done, I can move on to my 2024 bookshelfie. I used a ruler to draw out my shelves, but I hand drew all of the books because I think the slightly wonky lines look better than stick straight lines. I also feel like I can sometimes make things look cleaner without using a ruler. When I planned this journal, I had probably only read around 130 books. By the end of 2023, I will hopefully be over 150. My 2024 bookshelfie has enough room for 157 books, so I hope that will suffice for the year. I had to add on to my 2023 shelf 2 times, but I didn't exactly leave space for that in this journal like I did last year. I am using washi tape to make another Dutch door-like flap in my reading tracker. I wanted this spread to be pretty simple since it will be quite colorful by the end of the year, so I didn't add any ripped paper, but I might go back in with a Tombow marker to color the shelves and decorations. This is my DNF card, which will go at the end of my reading log. I used to be the person who couldn't justify giving up on a book, but now I read so much that I don't see the point in wasting my time on a book I'm not enjoying, especially when there are so many other books I could be reading. I usually give a book 30 to 50% before I decide if I will DNF it or not. And if I'm struggling with a physical book, I sometimes try the audiobook before fully giving up. I have always loved having a spread for my monthly favorites, but I wanted to showcase them in a better way this year. For 2 years, I had an illustration of 12 books stacked up that I wrote my monthly favorite onto the spines of, but it doesn't look as nice as I think this one will once I add on the book cover each month. I will be doing this simple design of a wobbly box on several of my spreads. It's not too perfect and it's not too messy. I love the way that it ends up looking on each spread. This is so simple to do, but like any line work, it can get tricky close to the binding and when your pen catches because of inserts on pages earlier in your journal. You can see an example of that happening in my July box at the bottom left of the page. I'm using this caramel colored pen from a set of gel pens that I got on Amazon for Bible journaling, but I just had to use this one for my reading journal setup because it is such a beautiful color. The entire set is beautiful earthy colors and they are so smooth to write with. I knew I wanted to stamp monthly favorites onto this spread, so I got this clear stamp set because my other letter stamps wouldn't have filled the space well. I have seen a lot of people use these kinds of stamps, but I wasn't terribly impressed. I think I could get used to the idea of it, but I'm not a huge fan of this font. My ink didn't transfer to the clear stamp nearly as well as other stamps I have, and I actually ended up going back in with a paintbrush to darken some of the letters. I am now going in and doing the same boxes for my 24 and 24 spread, where I will pick 24 books that I want to read in 2024. I actually did pretty good with this in 2023 and only had 1 or 2 books that I didn't end up getting to. This might be my last year doing this though, because it was honestly such a struggle to pick 24 books. I will read far more than this, but I am definitely a mood reader and don't stick to lists very well. This is as close to a TBR as I will ever do. I am going simple again by using washi tape and my letter stamps on a Dutch door so you can see all 24 books because they wouldn't fit on 2 pages. I like to round off my corners when I have paper or washi on the edges, even if my journal doesn't have rounded pages. It makes me feel better about my own design to round it off. Once I decided on 24 books, I printed them onto sticker paper for easy placement. Some books will be new releases in 2024, some are books I have wanted to read for a while, and others are books I wouldn't usually pick up. As I read them, I will add the rating below the cover. I have never kept up with a series tracker whenever I've made them in the past, but I feel like I am in the middle of a lot more series than usual now, and I would like to at least try to keep up with it this year. I did keep this spread small and simple though. I know myself and I will probably only use it a few times before I forget about it. I used this Tombow marker thinking it was my lightest one until I realized later that I had one lighter that would have looked better. My camera battery died, so I went ahead and did a bit of line work off camera. I created this anticipated releases spread to take note of upcoming releases. I only added House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J. Maas for now, but feel free to let me know in the comments which books you're anticipating most. My next spread is a book bracket, which was an idea I got from Plant-Based Bride here on YouTube. I'm not sure yet if I will fill it out as the year goes on, or if I will wait until the end of the year to see which book comes out on top. This is one of my spreads that would have benefited from having a slightly larger notebook. Next up is book bingo. I came up with some prompts that I will mark off as the topic or trope arises throughout the year as I am reading. My next spread is topics I would like to touch base on in 2024. On top I have Black history and Black authors. Then I have a place for books I own that have sat unread on my shelf for too long. My last box is books that touch base on the opioid crisis because I spend my work days with people who are in recovery. I want to have a way to see book club picks by the end of the year, so I made this book club spread. We have 2 picks a month, but I don't always read both of them. If I do, I'll just put the cover of whichever one is my favorite. By the end of the year, I will pick which book club read is my favorite overall. My next spread is 12 book recommendations from 12 friends. I don't plan on reading them in order or by doing one a month. My goal is to just simply read them at some point throughout the year. I decorated this spread slightly different from the others, but I loved these little cards and thought they would be a nice fit for the space. Now I have several pages set aside at the end of my setup for a reading log. The bookshelfie is great to look at, but this will be an easy way to see the exact number of books I read and see my rating at a quick glance. I will also number the lines with a page number so I can go back to a specific review if I want to in the future. My final page is my DNF card where I will take note of the books that I just couldn't get through. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you liked it and can get some inspiration from my setup. Please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing to help me out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.